I'm done cutting all my patterns and it's time for us to start putting them together. So I'll be starting from the front sleeve, which is C1 and C2. So this is C1. The bigger one is the bigger cape inside, and this is, so you know how to sew it. But before we sew it, we are going to assemble them because it runs from front to back, okay? But at least you have an idea of what we are talking about. So this is the C4. It's going to be on this. You can see it's forming the cape for us for the front already. So this is exactly what you have right there on the thumbnail, right there on your dress. So the way it is now, I'm going to bring my back pattern. So this is my back pattern, the back pattern piece. Let me cut this pattern, okay, on the armhole first, so you'll be able to appreciate this tutorial. Sorry, on the sleeve line. So this is my sleeve line, okay. I'm going to cut my normal dress. This is my normal dress. Since I've traced out the sleeve, I don't need to cut again on the line of the cape. So I just go ahead. This is where you are going to attach your sleeve. You know how to attach your sleeve, your off shoulder or asymmetric sleeve. So this is the front and this is how it will be. I will also split the hair, but I don't want to do that now. So I will come over to the back and I will cut my back. This is the bodice, and that is what you are going to use to cut the main dress before attaching your cape. So I'll just cut it right here. So you can see what we have. So by right, your shoulder seam line, you are going to join them this way, okay? If all things are equal, you are going to join your shoulder seam lines this way. So once you join your shoulder seam line, this becomes your front and this becomes your back. So if we are working on this pattern now, I'll first of all work on the bigger ones first. So the bigger one we have for this part, for this side, is C2 and C6. So I'll bring C2, I'll place C2, okay, because that is the first one you are going to lay, and I'll bring C6. So remember, we have the shoulder SH, SH, so you need to match up SH, SH. Can you see? So matching them up, you can see everything is lying nice and flat on this dress. So I'm going to join this and this now. I believe you understand the gist. So I'll just join this and this now. So to do that, I'll simply come in with my adhesive and bring in my piece of paper. I'll apply my adhesive. Then I'm going to cut. So what I'm doing here is just to put these two together. You can also use your seal tape. You must not use a gum for it. Okay. So just put it together. That's all. So you see, you have the front and back cape. So all you need to do is to keep this one aside. So this one we have now forms our front and back cape. So when you are going to sew this cape, please be careful. You need to make your notches where necessary. Notches where necessary, very important. Notches has to be where necessary. So now next is to bring the one that will be on top of it, and that one that will be on top of it is C1. Can you see? C1, and the bigger one, which is So for the back that matches with the C2, I'll bring it and I'll join. So I'll also repeat the same thing, which is joining the back. So I join my back, my upper cape, and join this other one. So I have the upper cape right now as one. Okay, so by the time you turn with your lining, you know how to sew your cape. You turn with your lining. This pattern, you add your seam allowances, turn with your lining and all that. The first one, as you see it joined, will be sewn to the first, while this one will come to it. So your notches has to be on the shoulder. So when joining it, you know that your shoulder seam line, you have this to be on that point for accuracy. So we are done with this part of this cape. Next is what happens this way. So whatever happens this way, this is very simple. C4 is the bigger one. You can see it, the bottom part. That's why I said you have to mark up and down. So this is the bottom part. Can you see that? All I'm going to do is the bigger one. I'll take off the smaller one and I'll bring the bigger one sleeve to sleeve. Can you see? Sleeve to sleeve. So this bigger one, there's something I want to do on it. I want to just give it a little flare effect. You can see what I'm doing here because I want to add a little flare effect. The reason for that is that part is the sleeve. If you don't want it to be, tight, just go ahead and add a flare effect to it. Of course, if you look on the thumbnail there, you see there is a little flare effect, and that is what I actually want to do. So this flare effect I'm adding to this part of the sleeve. Instead of keeping it straight, I'm going to measure 3 inches. So my pepper here is 3 inches. Okay, so just get 3 inches pepper, find the midpoint of the pepper, and then apply your adhesives on the midpoint, on the edges, that way. So once that is done, next you are going to do is to place it this way. Can you see? Okay, and place it on that center line to form your flare effect. So the flare effect I'm forming here is on the sleeve itself, okay, where the sleeve is going to pass. So please make sure you take your measurement on the part of that sleeve correctly. So this is the cape, the whole cape now, okay, which you are going to cut. This is how you are going to cut and turn it and sew to the neckline. So I will set that one aside and I'll come back with the smaller cape. So for the smaller cape right now, I'll still bring the smaller cape, the upper part, I'll bring it together. You can see the sleeve part. I'll also cut out another piece of paper that has the 3 inches for my flare effect, and I'll get the midpoint of it. I'll use here as the midpoint, apply my adhesives where necessary, and then I'll pick it up from here. I'm expanding it, and from here I'm expanding it. So what am I doing here? I'm adding a little flare effect. So you can see I did not move the neckline. The neckline remains where it is. The only part that moved is what we have right here. Okay, so this is how to go about this cape, and we are done with this class. It's as simple as that. So by the time you cut this on fabric, this part on fabric, it flares out for you. Okay, it flares out for you. So people, this pattern, this is the bodies of this pattern. The only part you are joining is here. Can you see? I believe you are seeing what I'm doing here. Then for this, you'll be cutting your off shoulder, your sleeve. So just come to the basic sleeve and cut it somewhere here and sew it back this way. Okay, you just sew it, just sew it wherever it terminates, just cut it off. Okay, so that is that. So we are concentrating on the cape, not on how to sew So however you know how to sew your asymmetric bodice pattern, just go ahead and do the same for the sleeve. So when sewing this dress, the sleeve has to be attached. Take note, you attach the shoulder seam line, you attach the sleeve, then before the sleeve will be attached, that is spreading open. That's the only way you can sew this cape. So people, next is to cut out the button. This button parts, you are going to turn the button, or you are going to add button allowance of 1 inch before you sew. You add another paper, or on your fabric you add your button allowance. You know how to do that. So after that, you have turned your lining, hairstay, turn with line you know how to turn your cape. The first you are going to sew is this. Okay, so make sure you make your notches. This part will be here, this way, running over and coming this way. I cannot turn it now because I'm working with paper, but if this is your fabric, definitely once you turn, it follows you to that point. Then the same comes this way. You now lay this one, okay, and that is it for this dress. So the button will be at the front, while the neckline, you see the excess we have, which is the remaining neckline that should come over this way. Of course, when you cut it on fabric, like I said, it falls for you as it is there on the thumbnail. So that is how to go about this dress. Thank you very much for coming to this tutorial once again. If you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you.